Morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's wait for another 2 minutes. Fine. So let's start the session. Fine. So now today we'll be going with this unit 2. What we have in this unit 2 first we'll be seeing, and then we'll be discussing about the topics what we are going to cover in this unit 2. So try to understand here. Let me open the syllabus first. Right. So this was a syllabus that we have, and in this syllabus, what we are discussed is, so these are all complete theory topics up to here. So we discussed about the theory topics also. And coming to the next thing is that we discussed about this Java buzzwords and overview of Java data types, variables, arrays, this operators, expressions, control statements that we'll discuss, no problem. And the introduction to classes, methods and classes we discussed. And here inheritance concept we discussed, and we discussed what are constructors and creating multi-level hierarchies, superclasses using final with inheritance, polymorphism, ad hoc polymorphism, pure polymorphism, method overriding and method hiding, and then abstract classes. Now we'll be discussing this forms of inheritance. Just we went through the headings. That's it. Okay. So these things we'll discuss later. This forms of inheritance, and then followed by object class, and then string class. These things we'll discuss later. Okay. Uh, Next, abstract classes are there, but I'm going to combine this abstract class in Unit 2 itself along with interfaces. I'm going to discuss it. Okay. So now let's see what we have in this Unit 2 and what we are going to discuss, in what way I'm going to cover this Unit 2 that we'll be discussing here. Just try to understand it. Fine. So here, first we have a concept called packages. So what do you mean by package? And how many types of packages are there? And how to write a package and all we'll be discussing over here. Defining a package in sense, how to write a user-defined package that we'll be discussing. And after that, class path we'll be discussing, and then access protection. Just like access members, access control, what we have in Unit 1, access protection, both are same. And we'll be discussing here like what will be going about what do you mean by private, public, protected, access specifier, and if you take private, what happens, if you take public, what happens, protected, what happens. All these things we'll be discussing in access protection. And then importing packages, how to import the packages and all. Here the most important thing is defining package. That means creating our own package is nothing but defining package. Thus, access protection. These two things are very, very important in this session, in this concept. And importing packages, just 2-3 minutes topic. That's it. Nothing will be there in importing, just implicit import, explicit import is there. What do you mean by implicit? What do you mean by explicit? Just like a typecasting concept, that is. Next thing is interfaces. So defining interface, very simple, knowing the definition today itself in the evening session we'll be discussing. And implementing interface, how to implement this interface for interfaces, that we'll be discussing. And next we'll be going with this applying interfaces or variables in interfaces, extending interfaces. All these things will be covering in one single program. All these things will be covering in one single program. Nested interfaces will be discussing as a separate concept. Remaining everything is very simple in interfaces. Remaining everything is very simple in interfaces. Okay. So most probably we'll be completing this interfaces concept and abstract classes. Most probably today or not, for Saturday, we'll be going to complete this interfaces concept. Okay, and then we'll be entering in the concept called packages. Most probably by Saturday, I will complete this interfaces and then packages concepts. I'm going to complete by Saturday. And left out thing is going to be this one, and this will be acting as 40% of what your unit 2. This will be acting as 40% of our unit 2. Okay, so we need to take some time to discuss about the streams and all, and few programs we need to discuss. Anyhow, we'll be discussing all those things. Okay, so when compared to your unit 1, this unit 2 has a less syllabus. Okay, so చూడడానికి పెద్దగా కనిపిస్తుంది, but when we are going to discuss, it takes less time. Hardly interfaces and abstract classes takes 3 hours, packages takes 1 hour and 2 hours, and the stream classes takes 5 hours of time. That's it. Okay, so most probably we'll be closing of this unit 2 by the end of next week. Okay, fine. First of all, let's have a discussion on abstract classes, and then we'll be entering into the concept called interfaces. So let us keep these interfaces aside and let us focus mainly on abstract classes first. Because if you understood abstract class, then you are in a position to understand about interfaces very easily, very quick. Okay, fine. So till now we discussed object-oriented programming principles. In few object-oriented programming principles we discussed. One is encapsulation. Wrapping up of data into a single unit can be called as encapsulation. And the example or the encapsulation concept is achieved in Java with respect to classes. Then we discussed about inheritance topic. Inheritance is nothing but the process of acquiring the properties of one class into another class. That's what the inheritance concept. And then that inheritance was achieved in Java with the help of extends keyword that we discussed. And then we went into the concept called polymorphism. This polymorphism means ability to take many forms, and this has been divided into 2 types. One is compile time polymorphism, other one is runtime polymorphism. In compile time polymorphism, we discussed about method overloading, and we discussed about method hiding concept, writing 2 or more methods in a same class which differs in number of parameters, order of parameters, and type of parameters. Then it can be called as what? 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 Method overloading. Method hiding means overriding static method which is there in the parent class and subclass. Then it can be called as method hiding. And then we discussed about pure polymorphism or runtime polymorphism. And this pure polymorphism, runtime polymorphism is nothing. The example for this is method overriding, writing same method in super and subclass, instance method in super and subclass, such that method name and method signature must be same. Then we can consider that as a method overriding. Right? In case of method overriding, we can create a parent class object. We can create a child class object. The child class object can be assigned to parent class reference. With respect to that reference, we can call the member of child class, provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. That's the meaning of what your method overriding concept. Okay, these are the 3 object-oriented programming principles we discussed in our Java till now. And now we'll be entering into the another topic called data abstraction topic. It is one of the object-oriented programming principle in which essential details are displayed to the user. Essential details are going to be displayed to the user. Non-essential units or non-essential details are not displayed to the user. That is what data abstraction. This data abstraction can be achieved with different ways. One is with the help of abstract classes and interfaces, we'll be achieving this data abstraction concept. Other one is by using private access specifier. We are going to we are going to going with data hiding concept, right? So data abstraction in the sense it's a one of the object-oriented programming principle which shows only essential details. It shows only essential details. Now the non-essential details are not displayed to the user. Whatever the thing that is required, those things will be given. And unwanted things or the things which were not required, those things are not going to be displayed. Those things are not going to be displayed. Okay, so this is what a data abstraction. And just one example is that a car can be viewed as a car rather than its individual components. We doesn't know what individual components which will be there in the car, but we'll be looking car as a car. That's it. But we don't know anything about internal things. Internal things. So car and okay, car. That's it. Whatever the thing that is required, those things only will be seen. But internal things will not be going in depth because we don't have an idea about all those things. Okay. Right. In Java, abstraction is achieved by interfaces and abstract classes. In Java, abstraction is achieved by interfaces and by using what? Abstract classes. We can achieve 100% data abstraction concept using interfaces. Why we are not achieving 100% with respect to abstract classes, that I will discuss. Is it clear for you, students, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Make a note of this fast, and then we'll be going with abstract classes. Before entering into the abstract classes, we need to know about abstract methods. So Lalita, what you're doing, ma? Are you listening the class? Completed? Response students completed or not? So listen here, all of you, 2 minutes, concentrate here. You'll be understanding about this abstract methods. Before entering into the concept called abstract classes, first we need to know abstract method. What do you mean by abstract method? A very simple words, a function or a method which does not has a body, a method which has no body or a definition. A method which has no body or a definition is called abstract. Is called abstract. An incomplete method is called abstract method. Inside a Java class, if you're taking a method without a body, just void space m1 semicolon means, then that method can be called as abstract method. Then that method can be called as what? Abstract method. A very simple words, we can define that a method without implementation. A method without implementation is called abstract method. A method without implementation is called what? Abstract method. Generally in a class, we'll be having two types of methods. Generally in a class, we'll be having two types of methods. One is method. Suppose I have a class called class-based demo. And inside this class-based demo, I will be taking some method like this void space m1 opening and closing brace, parenthesis, opening brace and closing brace. So this method can be called as a concrete method. This method can be called as what? A concrete method, because it has an implementation. Suppose I have a method called void space m2 opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, opening brace and closing brace. And this, sorry, if I have a method like this, like this, then it can be called as abstract method without body, without a body. Then it can be called as what? Abstract method. When you are going to take like this means before this return type, we need to take something called as abstract. And before this abstract, you can take public or you can take what default, whatever the access specifier that you want, you can take it. Okay, so we need to take like this abstract. If you're not interested to take a method, a body, what for a method you're not interested to take implementation for method, then definitely we need to take a keyword called what? Abstract. We need to take a keyword called what? Abstract. Okay, so this is what an abstract method is declared by using a keyword called abstract. By using a keyword called what? Abstract. Suppose in a class I'm going to take abstract space void display open and closing parenthesis semicolon, abstract space int add int x comma y, and then void display, and then void display. Okay, void display, opening brace and closing brace, and it can be called as a concrete method. If the body exists means it can be called as concrete method. If there is no body means then it can be called as abstract method. And we have few points that abstract method cannot be static, abstract method cannot be final. For abstract method, the implementation is provided in the subclass. For abstract method, the implementation must be provided in the subclass. If you are not going to provide implementation in the subclass, then what happens? That we'll be discussing clearly in the next slide. So first of all, what do you mean by abstract method? A method which has no body is called abstract method. An abstract method without implementation is called abstract method. An abstract method is declared by using a keyword called what? Abstract. Inside Java class, if any method which was declared by using a keyword called abstract means, then that method does not has any implementation. Then who has to provide implementation for that method? For that method, the class which is extending that Java class has to provide implementation for that method. Implementation for that method. Clear? Clear with the students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Only one student understood it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Clear, sir.
Yeah. Make a note of this fast. A method which has no body is called abstract method. A method which has no body is called abstract method. Next, abstract method is declared by using a keyword called abstract. A abstract method is declared by using a keyword called abstract. An abstract method is declared by using a keyword called abstract. And take these examples fast. I will be giving you clarity how data abstraction is going to be achieved in what abstract methods and all. Don't worry about that. Completed? Response students completed.
Yes, sir.
Right. Next. Now let us, we discussed about abstract method. Now we'll be discussing about abstract class. What do you mean by abstract class? An abstract class is a class which contains an abstract and concrete methods, which contains an abstract and concrete methods. So that can be called as an abstract class. An abstract class is a class which contains both abstract methods and concrete methods. And abstract class can contain 0 or more abstract methods. That means it may contain abstract methods or not, doesn't matter. 0 or more abstract methods, or all abstract methods, or all concrete methods, or a combination of abstract and concrete methods. or the combination of abstract and concrete methods. So abstract class is a class which contains abstract methods and concrete methods, or only abstract methods or only concrete methods, or the combination of both abstract and concrete methods, abstract or concrete methods. And how to write an abstract class generally? So you might be getting a questions, many questions you'll be getting in your brain. I will be solving all those questions, right? Just try to understand, bear with me another 1 minute so that you'll be understanding the things. The first thing is abstract method. Abstract method means the method which was declared by using a keyword called abstract without any implementation can be called as abstract method. This abstract method must be taken inside a class. If you are taking any abstract method inside a class, means that class will become abstract class. That class will become what? Abstract class. Okay. An abstract class is declared by using a keyword called abstract. If class contains at least one abstract method, then class must be declared as abstract. Otherwise, your compiler generates an error. If class contains at least one abstract method means, then your class must be declared as abstract. Otherwise, your Java compiler will generate what? Error. Let us enter into one simple program here. Let us enter into one simple program over here. Notepad space demo.java. Notepad space demo.java. I'm taking this class demo. Inside this class demo, what I'm doing is I'm going to take some method, void space m1 method. I'm going to take opening place and closing place. And here I'm going to print some message system.out.println m1 method. Okay, m1 method. So here I'm taking the class name as D, not demo, class name as D. Now what I'm doing is I'm going with class demo. Inside this class demo, I'm going to take something like this public main method. I'm going to take public static void main string args opening place and closing place demo. Sorry, dd is equal to new d. Now if I call d.m1 means I used to get m1 method. I used to get m1 method, right? I'm going to compile it. This is a normal Java program where we'll be taking one class which contains one method and one more class we'll be taking. And that class consists of what? Main method. That class consists of main method. And then we are creating an object of that class, D class, and we are calling methods which were there in D class. So we'll be getting m1 method. We'll be getting m1 method. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to take something like this public space, sorry, void space m2 semicolon. Void space m2 semicolon, right? I'm saving it. Now I'm going to compile this program. At this time, what Java compiler will give us, see, is giving some error, missing method body or declare abstract. You worst fellow, you're not taking method body. If you're not taking method body or take it as abstract, then there is a story like that it's saying. I'm not interested to take body for this m2. So what I'm doing here, as per the instructions of Java compiler, I'm going to take abstract. I'm going to take what? Abstract. Now this is a class D which consists of one method m1 which has an implementation and one more method called m2 which does not has any implementation. And I'm not taking abstract means then Java compiler will generate an error. If I take abstract means then no problem. Abstract space void m2. Now I'm going to compile it Java C space demo.java. So this time also I used to get an error. See, D is not abstract, does not override abstract method D2 in D, right? Simply saying that D is not abstract method and does not override abstract method M2, right? So what we need to do is if any class that contains at least one abstract method means, then that class must be declared as abstract. Then that class must be declared as what? Abstract. Okay, save it. Java C space demo.java. At this time, no error, I think, right? No error, right? So for abstract class, we are not in a position to create an object. That's the reason it's generating an error. So we'll make it as comment. Java C space demo.java. This time, no error. Okay, fine. So what I done, students, have you understood or not? First, I taken class D. Inside this class D, I taken a method called void m1 method. After that, opening place, closing place, and here I taken system.out.println m1 method, m1 method. M1 method I taken. After that, I'm taking one class called demo, class demo. Inside this class demo, what I'm doing is I'm going to take main method public static void main string args. Now I created an object for this demo, not demo, d is equal to new d. As soon as I create an object, then what instance variables memory will be allocated for instance variables. We don't have any instance variables and all, no instance blocks, constructors, nothing will be there. So I'm going to call this M1 method. This is a normal program where we are calling a method called M1. Now save it. Now I'm going to compile it. After compiling it, I'm going to run this program. So I used to get M1 method. Okay, run it. I used to get a method as what? A M1 method, right? M1 method. Now inside this, if I'm going to trying to take something like this, void space M2 semicolon, void space M2 semicolon. If I compile this program, Java compiler does not agree it. You're not taken body and you're not declared a method as abstract. Take any one. Either you implement the method, or else you declare it as what? Abstract. You implement a method or else you declare it as what? Abstract. Abstract space void M2. Java C space demo.java. Okay, no error, right? But this time it's giving some error that D is not abstract and does not override abstract method M2 in D. So remember that when you want to take here, it is abstract means if you take here abstract class, and for an abstract class, we are not in a position to create an object. We are not in a position to create an object. Okay. So I'm taking here the class as abstract, the D class as abstract, and which contains one concrete method, one abstract method, one concrete method, one abstract method. After that, Java C space demo.java, and this time there won't be any error at all. This time there won't be any error, right? This time there won't be any error. Right now, what happens here? How to call this M1 method or how to provide implementation for this M2 method? Who has to take the responsibility for this, right? So let's see. Have you understood up to this? Everyone taking abstract class, taking abstract method inside class, declaring class as abstract. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That means your
Thank you.
abstract class is a combination of abstract method as well as concrete methods. It's a combination of abstract methods as well as what? Concrete methods. Okay, so that's the meaning. Just make a note of this. What do you mean by abstract class means? An abstract class is a class which contains abstract methods and concrete methods. Next, you can take like this. An abstract class is declared by using a keyword called abstract. If a class contains at least one abstract method, then the class must be declared as a abstract. Otherwise, it is a compile time. Otherwise, Java compiler generates an error. Okay, make a note of this, students, fast. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Only one student completed. No one is writing.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, next thing is for abstract method. Suppose in a class I'm taking two abstract methods. And for that abstract methods, the implementation must be provided in the subclass. The implementation must be provided in the subclass. That means here I'm taking a class as abstract. Let us assume that I'm taking this class as what? Abstract. And I'm not in a position to create an object for this abstract class. If I'm going to create an object, then Java compiler is going to generate an error. Java compiler is going to generate an error. Suppose see here, I have an abstract class called abstract class here. I'm trying to create an object for this d is equal to new d in demo class. Now, when I'm trying to create an object for this, then Java compiler will generate an error over there. You worst fellow, you're not supposed to create an object for abstract class, right? D is abstract, cannot be instantiated, cannot be created, right? So for an abstract class, it's very clear that we are not in a position to create an object. Now, what we need to do here? What we need to do here, right? So this is a thing. They're not said anything in this. Just they given method over there. That's it. They're given method over there. Only that is enough. That is enough. They're given only that method information. And now what happens is if you want to provide an implementation for this method M2, for this method M2, then what happens is we need to extend this D class. We need to extend this D class. For example, I'm going to take class E extends D class. If I'm going to extend an abstract class, D is an abstract class, E is a normal class, and this E class wants to extend D class. Now, what happens is D is an abstract class. So if D contains any abstract method, means this method implementation must be there in E. If we are not going to provide method implementation, then for this E also will become abstract class. Suppose here I'm not going to take any method over here, but I'm trying to create an object for this D is equal to D dot M1. See, I'm not implemented method implementation for this what M2 ki method implementation ikkada provide cheyaledu. As per this instruction, what happens is if for an abstract method the implementation is provided in the subclass, that is in child class, otherwise the class must be declared as abstract, must be declared as what? Abstract, right? So now what happens is I'm taking here class abstract class D. Inside this one abstract method I have taken, and we have a class called E, and this class extending this D class. That means E must be in a position to provide implementation for this M2. If E is not providing implementation for this M2, then E must be declared as an abstract. Java C space demo.java. Java C space demo.java. See, you will be getting an error over there because we not provided implementation for method call M2. See, E is not abstract, does not override M2 method in D, right? So only two options are there here. Either we need to take E class as abstract. E class as what? Abstract. And no, we are not supposed to create an object for this E. Or one more solution for this is going to be, we need to provide an implementation of M2 method in E. If you compile it, you will not be getting any error over there. Right? No error. Okay. So only one option is that we need to provide implementation for this M2, or else we need to take here abstract. I'm not interested to provide implementation for, I'm interested to provide implementation for this M2 means void space M2, opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, opening brace and closing brace. Then I'm taking some statement here, system.out.println M2 method in E class. M2 method in E class. Save it. Come here and compile it. Java C space demo.java. Okay. Demo. So we not created also. We made it in some other lines. And D.M1, D.M2, D.M. Now compile it. Run it. So M1 method. Next M2 method in E class. Now what happened is for abstract method, the implementation must be provided in the subclass. Otherwise, that class must be declared as what? Abstract. For abstract class, we cannot create an object. Only we can create references. That is second story that I will discuss. And what abstract class says what to do, but not how to do. How to do is done by the subclasses. Right? So this is what is going to be happen. You can have a look over here. This is an abstract class which contains one concrete method, one abstract method, and I'm taking one more class called E, and this class E extends this D class. And in this D class, I'm providing implementation for one method, that is M2 method, because M2 is going to be an abstract method. Now in demo class, I created an object for E, and this E object I'm assigning to this E reference, and I'm going to call and two methods. If I say d dot m1 means this m1 method is present in abstract class, it excludes this m1 method. And after that, m2 method implementation is provided in the subclass, and this method is going to be executed. This method is going to be executed. Suppose we have one more method over here, void space empty. Then what happens? The program will execute.
No,
Is
sir, its definition also must be given. M3 కూడా definition ఇవ్వాలి సార్ subclass లో.
Yes, because we have totally three methods are there. Out of these three methods, one is going to be concrete method, other two are what? Abstract method. And we are extending a class, D class, with respect to E, and this E must take the responsibility to implementation for this M3. Otherwise, we need to take here abstract. If you are taking abstract for E means we cannot create object for this E. We cannot create object for this E. Only two options will be there here. One is we need to take E as abstract, and we are not supposed to create an object for E. Other thing is this M3 E class we need to take as an abstract. Other thing is we need to provide implementation for this M3 method. So void space M3, opening and closing parenthesis, opening brace and closing brace. Again, we'll be printing the message system.out.println M3 method in E class. M3 method in E class. Now there won't be any error. We can call this M3 method also. D dot M3. D dot M3. Save it. Compile it. Demo. No problem, right? M1 method, M2 method in E class, M3 method in E class. Clear with this, students? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay. Right. Make a note of this fast. First 2 points you make a note of that. First 2 points. Abstract class is nothing but a normal class, but it may contain abstract methods, and implementation for these abstract methods must be implemented by its subclass. If subclass is not implemented, abstract methods means then that subclass has to become an abstract. And if any class is an abstract class, then we are not in a position to create an object for that class. We can create only reference. We cannot create an object. Those points you have to remember. And how to write abstract method means by using a keyword called abstract. And how to write an abstract class means before the class keyword we need to take what? Abstract. And that's it. Completed writing this, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Make a note of this program fast. Fast. So this is class E, which extends D and provides implementation for M2 and then M3. This is class demo. Completed? Response students completed or not?
No, sir.
Hmm? Today no Kartikeya.
Present, sir.
Then why you are not responding? Completed. Response students completed or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, take the output also. And I'm receiving many documents from yesterday onwards. Very good, very good. Most of you are sending the things. Very good students. I hope everyone are done by your own. Okay. If you're not doing by your own means, then you are blaming yourself. You may think that what you are making others, but I will consider you only, right? Those are doing like that. Those are done by them by their own. I will appreciate the students. Those are doing by their own, right? Very good, very good. Most of you are showing interest at least for submitting an assignment. That's great thing, first of all. Completed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the next thing is, for an abstract class, we cannot create an object, but we can create a reference. With respect to that reference, we can call only child class methods. We can call only child class methods. Not all methods, we cannot call all methods. Whatever the methods, prototypes that we have in parent class, and those methods, if they are in child class, those methods we can call. I will be showing you it. Next thing is, an abstract class can contain constructors, but they are called when subclass objects are created. What they are called when subclass objects has been created. An abstract class can have instance variables and static variables. When we create a subclass object, then memory is allocated for abstract class variables. Then memory is going to be allocated for abstract class variables. And for the static variables, as soon as it is going to be loaded into the .class file, then only the memory will be allocated. But for instance variables, the memory will be allocated as soon as we create a subclass object. As soon as we create a subclass object. Okay. Fine. So now first we'll be looking about this points later. First of all, let's have a look on this point. What's going to be happen? What's going to be happen? Just see here. See here, for an abstract class, we are not in a position to create an object. Here D is abstract class, D1 is equal to new D means, then your Java compiler will generate an error, right? Your Java compiler will generate an error. For an abstract class, we cannot create, we cannot instantiate it. Okay, like that the Java compiler will generate. Now what happens is, I'm going to take here E. Now what happens is, I'm going to assign child class object to parent class. Here E is a derived class of parent class to child class to D. So I'm going to take child class object. This child class object I'm assigning to this parent class reference. With respect to that parent class reference, we can call instance method of child class, provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. That means with respect to this D1, we can call the methods of child class, provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. That means here the method signature M1, M2, and this M3 methods we can call. Now what I'm doing is, I can call D1.M1 semicolon, D1.M2 semicolon, D1.M3 semicolon. Okay, no problem. We'll be getting this three functions over there. When I compile it, we'll be getting this three functions over there. Okay, when I'm going to run it, I used to get 6 times M1 method, M2 method in E class, M3 method in E class. Suppose what I'm doing is, here I'm going to write one more method, void space M4 method. And for this M4 method, I'm going to take like the system.out.println. M3 method is there. Now here I'm taking M4 method in E class. Save it. Now with respect to this D object, I'm going to call M4. In this case, there won't be any problem. But in this case, there will be a problem, d1.m4. d1.m4. This m4 signature is not available in that in that abstract class. So that's the reason it gives an error. d1.m14 gives an error. See why it gives an error. M4 belongs to E class. This M4 is not there in abstract class. At least abstract method signature is not there here. Public abstract void space M4 signature is not there. If this signature is there, means then there won't be any problem. If that signature is there, suppose I'm going to take M4 signature also, then in that case the Java compiler will not generate any error over there. In that case, the Java compiler will not generate any error over there. But here I don't have M4 signature, but I have M4 in child class. There is a requirement and they are taken that M4 method. But in this case, I'm not going to get any error because child class object I'm assigning to child class reference. With respect to that reference, I can call the members of child class as well as parent class. But here what happens is when I'm going to assign child class object to parent class reference, with respect to this reference, we can call the members of parent class, we can call the members of child class, provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. And M1, M2, M3 and the methods at least declaration statement or signature annadi A class lo undali, D class lo undali. Undi a classes ki method implementation E class lo unte, then E class methods will be executed. What I mean to say is we can assign child class object to parent class reference. With respect to that reference, we can call the methods of child class, provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. Provided that method signature must be available in the parent class. So in this case, it generates an error. d1.m4 means it generates what? Error. Have you understood about this, students?
Yes, sir.
Only one student, huh?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sending this program in WhatsApp. I will send this program the WhatsApp link. Okay. So try to look into it. So this is about abstract classes and all. And these 2 points also we'll be discussing. Okay. Fine. So what's the time now? Okay. 12:32. Just one program I would like to show you. I will close it within 2 or 3 minutes. Just see this program. See this program, all of you students. Here I have a class called abstract class A, and in this I have taken 2 methods, M1 and M2 as abstract, and I'm taking M3 method. Now I'm going with this abstract demo. This abstract demo extends A. So whatever the methods, abstract methods are there here, and the abstract methods implementation we need to provide. For M1 and M2 method, we need to provide an implementation. After that, M4 method I'm going to take here. M4 method I'm going to take. M3 method implementation is there in abstract class itself. Now I'm going to create an object of a child class, and I'm going to call M1, M2, M3, M4. But I can create an object of so second object I'm creating. So, and here I'm creating an object of child class, and this object I'm assigning to the parent class reference. So with respect to that reference, I can call M1, I can call M2, I can call M3, but I'm not in a position to call M4 because M1, M2, M3 method signatures are available in the child class. Okay, clear with this, everyone? The same program with some different thing. Okay, fine. Shall we stop here? Okay, we'll stop here, and anyhow we have a class from 4 to 5, and at that time we'll be discussing about two programs based on these abstract classes, and there is a story of what your abstract class, and then we'll be entering into the interfaces. Any doubts? If you have, you can ask. Otherwise, you can.
సార్ వీటిని అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాస్ అని అనడం వెనకాల రీజన్ ఏమైనా ఉందా సార్?
అంటే వెరీ సింపుల్ శ్రీకర్, మనం క్లాస్ లోపల ఒక మెథడ్ కి బాడీ తీసుకోకుండా ఉంటే అది అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ మెథడ్ అవుతుంది. సో మీరు ఈ అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాసెస్ కి వాట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేశారనుకోండి, ఆ మెథడ్ కి ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ లేదు. అందుకే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి పాసిబిలిటీ లేదు. సో ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయకుండా ఉండాలి. ఇది ఈ ఒకవేళ ఏదైనా ఒక మెథడ్ కి బాడీ లేకుండా తీసుకుంటే డెఫినెట్ గా ఆ క్లాస్ అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ అవ్వాలి అనేసి చెప్తున్నారు అంతే. అండ్ ఈ మెథడ్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తాను నేను. డేటా అబ్స్ట్రాక్షన్ అంటే ఏం చెప్పాను అక్కడ, వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు హైడ్ ద డేటా అని చెప్పేసి అంటే ఓన్లీ ఎసెన్షియల్ డేటా ఇస్ రిక్వైర్డ్ అని చెప్పేసి చెప్పాను. ఒక సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుంటే కరెంట్ బిల్ క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ ఎలా జరుగుతుందంటే, గెట్ వాట్ రేట్ అని ఒక మెథడ్ తీసుకుంటాం. ఈ గెట్ రేట్ అన్న మెథడ్, గెట్ రేట్ అన్నది ప్రైస్ అనేది వేరియేట్ అవుతూ వస్తుంది కరెంట్ బిల్ జనరేట్ చేసాం. ఫర్ రెసిడెన్షియల్ పర్పస్ it is what some charge, and for commercial purpose it is some charge. So what they will be doing is they will be taking one abstract class, and that class contains one abstract method, and this abstract method, this abstract class was extended by two other classes. One is commercial class, other one is residential class. In commercial class they are what implementing this get rate method. In residential class also they are implementing this get rate method, but the value that get rate method is giving from commercial, giving from residential is different. Got my point? So what they
Yes,
want
sir.
to do is they want to specify what we need to do, what subclass has to do, but they won't specify how to do it. అంటే ఇప్పుడు కమర్షియల్ కి ఎంత అన్నది what that class is not going to know that. Okay, electricity class may not be knowing it. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
that's the main thing. Constructor for abstract class. Yeah, we'll be discussing this in next class. Constructors will be there in the abstract class. As soon as you create child class object, then constructor will be executed. I will discuss in the afternoon session.
సార్ రన్ టైమ్ లో ఇన్పుట్ రీడ్ చేయడానికి మెయిన్ తర్వాత త్రోస్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అని పెట్టకపోతే ఎర్రర్ ఇస్తుంది సార్, ఎందుకు అలాగా?
Yes. What's the problem is that suppose మీరు రన్ టైమ్ లో డేటా ఇస్తున్నారు. ఇచ్చేప్పుడు మీరు డెఫినెట్ గా ఒక లైన్ లో ఒక నంబరే ఇవ్వాలి. సపోజ్ మీరు ఒక లైన్ లో ఒక నంబర్ ఇవ్వకుండా 110 అనే చోట 110 అని ఎంటర్ చేయాల్సిన చోట 1O అని ఎంటర్ చేస్తారు. 1O will be written as a string actually, and this 1O need to be converted in the form of integer by using integer.parseInt method. Okay, so 10 can be converted as integer, but 1O cannot be converted because one is digit, other one is a textual, and this cannot be converted in the form of what integer. So what happens is there is a possibility that we might conversion may not be happen. Integer.parseInt thing entante, it is used to take one string and it converts in the form of integer, but there is a possibility always we may not convert always. ఇలాంటి కేసెస్ రావచ్చు. ఒకసారి టెక్స్చువల్ డేటా ఇవ్వచ్చు, ఒకసారి నంబర్స్ ఇవ్వచ్చు, అలాంటి కేసెస్ ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి ఏంటంటే ఈ ఇంటీజర్ డాట్ పార్సెంట్ అన్న మెథడ్ నంబర్ ఫార్మాట్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేస్ చేయడానికి ఛాన్సెస్ ఉంది. అంటే ఒక ఎర్రర్ జనరేట్ చేయడానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంది అన్నమాట. ఆ ఎర్రర్ ని మనం హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలి బై యూజింగ్ ట్రై అండ్ క్యాచ్. ఒకవేళ మీరు ఆ ఎర్రర్ ని హ్యాండిల్ చేయలేకపోతే మీరు ఆ ఎర్రర్ ఉంది అన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ జావా కంపైలర్ కి ఇవ్వాలి. అంటే ఈ మెథడ్ ఎర్రర్ రేస్ చేయడానికి స్కోప్ ఉంది అన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మీరు జావా కంపైలర్ కి ఇవ్వాలి. సో మీరు ఆ మెథడ్ ఎక్కడైతే యూజ్ చేస్తారో ఆ మెథడ్ మెయిన్ మెథడ్ లో మీరు యూజ్ చేస్తారో, లేదంటే M1 మెథడ్ లో మీరు యూజ్ చేస్తే ఆ మెయిన్ మెథడ్ పక్కకి త్రోస్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అని మీరు రాస్తే అదేం ఆలోచిస్తుందంటే ఒక మెథడ్ లో ఏదో ఒక ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ ఒక ఎక్సెప్షన్ రేస్ చేయడానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంది, అందుకే వీడు ఇక్కడ త్రోస్ ఎక్సెప్షన్ అని చెప్పేసి తీసుకున్నాడు అని చెప్పేసి the compiler is going to think like that. But moreover, when we are going to use this integer.parseInt, float.parseInt, float.parseFloat methods ని మీరు యూజ్ చేసేప్పుడు డెఫినెట్ గా ఎక్సెప్షన్ అనేది రేజ్ అవుతుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఆ మెథడ్ ని డిజైన్ చేసేప్పుడే అలా చెప్పారనమాట. ఒకవేళ ఈ మెథడ్ యూజ్ చేస్తే డెఫినెట్ గా మీరు ఎక్సెప్షన్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయాలి, ఒకవేళ ఎక్సెప్షన్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయకపోతే ఎర్రర్ వస్తుంది. అందుకే ఎక్సెప్షన్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయడానికి విల్ బి యూజింగ్ ట్రై అండ్ క్యాచ్, or else will be, if you are not interested, then we'll be writing throws exception. That we'll discuss clearly in third unit.
ఓకే సార్.
So sir, constructors is invoked only when object is created, but for an abstract class we are not creating any object. Then how we use constructor for abstract class? See ma, for an abstract class we cannot create an object. It's very good, But what I mean to say is, I said one point that an abstract class contains constructor, but they are not, but they are called when subclass object is created. They are called when subclass objects are going to be created, right? So మీరు abstract class కి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేయలేము, రైట్? బట్ అందులో కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉంది. ఆ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఎప్పుడు కాల్ అవుతుంది అని అంటే యాజ్ సూన్ యాజ్ యు క్రియేట్ అన్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఫర్ సబ్ క్లాస్. సబ్ క్లాస్ కి మీరు ఆబ్జెక్ట్ క్రియేట్ చేసినప్పుడు సూపర్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ కాల్ అవుతుంది, అలానే సబ్ క్లాస్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ కూడా కాల్ అవుతుంది ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అ డిఫాల్ట్. ఓకే, పారామీటరైజ్డ్ కన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఉంటే అప్పుడు మళ్ళీ డిఫరెంట్ స్టోరీ వస్తుంది. ఐ విల్ అడ్రస్ దోస్ థింగ్స్ ఇన్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ సెషన్. ఓకే, ఫైన్. ఎనీ డౌట్స్ స్టిల్? Students, I'm taking the screenshot of this. Any doubts? If you have, you can ask. Okay.